So let's talk more about this and what should be the focus and perhaps what should also take the urgent attention of the lawmakers. And joining us to do this is Ms. Hidayat Hassan, who is Executive Director for Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. She joins us from our Abuja studios this afternoon. It's good to see you this year. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Now, we just listened to the Senate President talking about restructuring, and he specifically spoke about security. Now, this has been talked about in recent days, from the initiative of the Southwest governors to North Central governors also coming up with their own, position, and this goes all across the country. So let's go to the National Assembly. When it comes to security and restructuring in that area, what do you think they should be looking at? State police, trying to, remove the power from the center? What are the areas you think should be focused on when we're talking about restructuring security in the country?
I think first and foremost, we have to revisit the issue of state police finally. It's an amendment that has gone through several times. There has been an attempt to amend the Constitution on state policing to no avail. But now we really have to address it, because this ad hoc notion of Amotekun, North Central, CJTF in the Northeast, they are not enough and they are not sustainable. But beyond the issue of state policing, we also have to look at how we have to decentralize more and more the security architecture as explicit in the Constitution, but the working of it. And thirdly, also, we have to start thinking of employing more people. So while the National Assembly is talking about making laws, we also have to synergize on how to cure some of the anomalies responsible for the insecurity in this country through infusing more people in the security architecture. So by that, you are not just bringing more people to work either in police, military, but you are also curing the unemployment, which is, of course, a menace across the country. Then while we talk more, we tend to focus so much on a militaristic approach or security-centric approach towards addressing the insecurity that is plaguing us as a country. What are the non-kinetic approaches we can also use in terms of addressing some of these insecurity challenges? These are very key things to do. And of course, the issue of oversight is on the table. In the last year, even the Senate or the National Assembly was explicit that security personnel should not travel by train to Kaduna. They should travel with their own cars. What have actually happened to the implementation of that? What about the oversight to the security budget?
No.
So it's not about giving so much money to the security forces alone.
Let's also talk about, issues that came up last year and, that have been carried over into this new year. One of them is open NAS. Now, details emerged recently that the RMAFC is meant to review the pay packages for political office holders. And of course, that involves members of the National Assembly. I recall that open NAS has trended time and again in times past. So for this year, what should be the approach of the National Assembly when it comes to issues of budgeting, getting the details of the budget of the National Assembly, and the talk about pay? How do you think the National Assembly should approach this year?
I think first and foremost, we have to talk in terms of openness, transparency, and accountability. We can't both harp on that. And there is a reason people are harping on it. It's because it's not because they do not want the National Assembly to earn as much as they want to, but it's the lack of trust in the system. So for instance, coming from the budget, it shouldn't be the usual one. Yes, the last assembly actually gave us an idea of what it is, but it was never broken down according to components. The earnings of the National Assembly members will also have to be very open. The legitimate earnings, the so-called slush funds, because it's not even because people do not trust them, but because they have to lay to rest, finally, all these allegations that is surrounding them, not just locally, but nationally. So openness should be openness in all areas, not only in earnings, but also in access to the National Assembly for both the citizenry and the non-state actors who are interested in collaborating with them.
Just before I move on to the next point, you mentioned citizenry, and I think it's really important to also set an agenda for the citizens when it comes to the National Assembly for this year. So briefly, before we talk about other issues concerning the National Assembly, what agenda should Nigerians also set for themselves in terms of keeping the National Assembly, accountable and all that?
I think it's about democratic accountability. The quality of governance as citizens we will get, we depend on the quality of our citizenry, and that is our engagement. So as Nigerians, we know that if we fold our hands, we are not asking questions, we are not holding in particular our elected legislative to account, nothing will be better. And why we harp on the National Assembly is because it is only in the National Assembly every Nigerian has a representative. I have my representative in the House of Representatives. I have my senator representing my district. The governor, it's not the same. The president is not the same. So it's active citizenry, asking questions, not just writing petitions, ensuring that these people are accountable to us. We even visit their constituency office and we keep engaging. And people even come down to the National Assembly in Abuja without fear or favor. And they are also granted access to visit as others visit in other climes.
All right. I would like to thank you so much, Ms. Idayat Hassan, for sharing your thoughts with us on the program. She's Executive Director for Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. Thank you so much. So let's stay at the National Assembly and speak with our correspondent, Terry Kumi, to get a feel of the mood around the National Assembly as the lawmakers get set for work in the year 2020. So Terry, can you just walk us through the atmosphere, what to expect today and perhaps in the coming months of the year 2020?
The National Assembly has resumed after adjourning on the 20th of December 2019, which was a Friday, by the way. Just to draw your attention to the fact that the National Assembly does not sit on Fridays, but they had to hold that sitting because they adjourned on Thursday in honor of Senator Ben Wajumogu, who passed away just a day before. Now, we understand that there will be another adjournment today in honor of another lawmaker, this time a member of the House of Representatives, Fagen Gawo, who passed away on the 31st of December 2019. But before that happens, we understand that there will be swearing in of new members coming from the rerun elections which held over the weekend. And also to let you know that there are some details of what the National Assembly will be focusing on going forward. We understand that the Petroleum Industry Bill will be paid close attention. We also understand that the Electoral Act Amendment Bill will be paid close attention as well. We spoke with a few lawmakers during the holiday and some members of the CSO who put into perspective what these lawmakers should focus on going forward into the rest of their tenure. It's back to you.